Hey YouTube, it's your girl Dr. J, and I'm back because I wanted to do a quick video because I really love the response that I've gotten from the customized books that I did for my first grader. But one of the most prevalent comments that I'm getting from people is, oh, I wish I would have done this with my kids when they were young. What I wanted to do is show you guys that this isn't just a project to do with really young children. Everybody likes having experiences about themselves, and these customized books are a great way to make your child's learning relevant to them. So I'm going to give you guys some ideas on how you can use these books with older children. I'm going to be using some of the experiences that my third grader had, but you can do this with a child who's in 8th grade, 12th grade. It really doesn't matter. So this is a math. I'm going to show you guys some math-based ones. So this is a picture of us when we did our first 5K. And so on it, the question is, you finished your first 5K race in 39 minutes and 53 seconds. And your second was in 35 minutes and 51 seconds. What was the percentage of your improvement from your first to your second race? If you wanted to improve by 5% in your next race, what would your finishing time be? And it has a picture where he gets to remember the experience. My oldest gets to remember the experience of his first 5K race. He also runs track. So this is a picture of him crossing the finish line for 1500. And it says, you finished the 1500 meter race in 8 minutes and 34 seconds. Assuming you kept a steady pace for the entire race, what would your time have been if this was a 500 meter race? So this is a pretty complicated story problem, but he gets to also, it's about his own experience and his own memory of crossing the finish line. This is one of him doing the 400, and it says, you ran the 400 in 3 minutes and 6 seconds. Assuming a steady pace, what would your finish have been if this was an 800 meter race? And so, again, it's his own experience that he had. This is another track one. This is him doing the long jump. This is my oldest doing the long jump. And it says your longest jump for this meet was 3 feet 2 inches in the long jump. The first place finisher jumped 3 feet 8 inches. What was the percentage of difference between your results and the winner? Your first jump was 3 feet 1 inch, your second jump was 3 feet 2 inches, and your final jump was 2 feet 9 inches. What was your average jump during this meet? So those are math problems that are all about his experience in track. Here's one. This is a picture of him when he was very little, and this is a picture the day that one of his siblings was born, because his siblings are twins, of course, but his sissy was in NICU at the time. Okay, so it says, this picture was taken the day your brother was born. How many days old were you at the time? Again, this is a really fun word problem for him to do, and he gets to relive that moment of holding his baby brother for the first time, and so that's just a really cool thing to do. And even though he's older, it's about him and it's about his life. This is his great grandfather. This is his great grandfather who passed away a few months back. And so it says, write a story about your great grandfather. Talk to your grandmother about special memories to help you with your story. And so it keeps his family in his mind and heart. And so that experience, you know, his great grandfather passed away when he was 7 years old. And so I want him to still remember his great grandfather for his life. And so this is an opportunity for him to really, you know, create this beautiful story about his great grandfather, and also spend some time with his grandmother and have her reflect on her dad for him. So it's a great way to pass family history along and get family cohesion, and also him to have some really cool experiences writing about his great grandfather, who was awesome, built a house with his own hands, had great stories about his time with the power company, and just all kinds of just amazing things that he did in his life. And I want my son to know those things about his great grandfather, and what better way for him to learn and experience those things is by getting those stories from his grandfather, from his grandmother, and from my husband, his dad, and to really create that family bond and keep that family bond really strong. Also, I told you guys that, he went to space camp. So these are pages that I printed out for pictures that my husband had taken of him when he was at space camp. And so he's going to write on the paper, write these little adventure stories that he had about his time at space camp. So this is his time this is him in mission control. And this is him, on the equipment that they have them go through. That's kind of like astronaut training. So again, he had that experience, but he gets to keep reliving that experience, and that's what an older child will do. So if your child is into sports, take some pictures of them at their sporting events and come up with some math problems based on the math questions based on the math that they're doing at the moment. So if they're doing algebra, integrate some algebra problems into the pictures for them at their sporting events. If your child is into is doing drama or dance or something like that, they're going to be learning, I'm sure, period pieces and period music. Write some history questions or integrate that and put some pictures of them doing those plays and different things like that, and integrate that into their homeschooling experience. If your child is, if you have family photos or them with family members, especially older family members, integrate that into the experience. But every child can use a custom book. It doesn't just have to be for really young children, preschool, kindergarten, first grade. You can do some really amazing word math problems for kids that are about their life, relevant to their own life, and then they can start seeing how math does affect their own life, how math does affect what they do. So especially as our children learn and grow and develop, don't miss out on those opportunities to still let them realize that they're not only are they still important, they're still important to you, and keep their memories fresh about family members that are getting older or maybe are going to be passing on, and they can still cherish the time that they had with those family members. And it also is an opportunity for them to see how they're developing and how they're changing. The fact that I can pull out a picture of my son when he was holding his baby brother, and he can even if he doesn't fully remember that moment, he can still see, like, I was there, I was holding him. This bond that I have with my brother, it started the day my brother was born. And he gets to kind of relive that and have that experience over and over again. So guys, I know that a lot of times when we think of really creative things, we think of them for the younger kids, but it really does work, and it can be utilized with older kids as well. So I just wanted to show that. I know one of the things, something that definitely my kids aren't old enough for, but there's whenever there's something going on, like I remember being in elementary school, when the Challenger blew up. And so if you have a child who was alive during a big time in the country's history, for instance, my kids lived through a tornado, a F5 tornado. So we have pictures of like our house and different things like that. So when they're a little bit older, I'm gonna give them some existential assignments where we'll put those pictures in there of what the damage to our house was, and the damage to the neighborhood that got destroyed that we were at where the F5 hit, and really give them an opportunity to talk about what was that like. Talk about your experience. Remember that day. What did you learn? How did you handle the fear? How did you handle the discomfort? So that's kind of a much higher level experience for them that I can't give that to them when they're 6 and 8. That's something that they're going to need to talk about and process when they're like 12 and 13. So guys, don't isolate things for your kids, and don't forget about the older kids. They love to read about themselves too, and have things relevant to the life that they live right now as well. So I hope this helps. This is Dr. J, and I'm out. Bye-bye.